Hello. I wanted to talk about the idea of intimacy and what if you're wanting to get out of the rut of not having intimacy in your life? A lot of people who have separated from a long term relationship go through a period of time. Either they get really connected with people quickly and just want to have a ton of intimacy because they're done with like being alone and not having intimacy, sexuality, sex. That's one of the things, right? But, a lot of people, like, hesitate because they're having to deal with this feeling of being rejected. And that idea about being rejected to me is a super big concept because sometimes I don't really, believe that that's necessarily the narrative that you got rejected, because the way that I feel is true intimacy is the ability to talk about anything, right? So if you were in a relationship where there wasn't discussion about the distance that was being held, or there wasn't conversations about what was making the other person unhappy or in an existential crisis or distance from you or whatever it was, then the intimacy was already leaving the relationship and you didn't have a say about that. um, Maybe, and my groups talk about this a lot, maybe you had a reaction to that, like anger or upset, and maybe then it became hard to engage with you. But my sense is that rejection is a narrative that we give to ourselves about the lack of capacity of talking about something and feeling like you had a choice in it. Um, so anyways, I wanna get to the idea about how can you get out of the rut of not having intimacy. So the first thing is to think about yourself. Are you feeling attractive? Are you attracted to yourself? Are you attractive to other people? And sometimes people just shut down and shut off. Like if you have gotten damaged by feeling like someone wasn't interested in you, their 24/7 person, your relationship, then you probably started not being very interested in yourself either, not feeling good about yourself. There's nothing more confidence building is that when people find you attractive, um, or they're complimentary towards you, we kind of emerge, right? We want to take risks, we want to get closer, we are out there a little bit more sparkly, shining bright. So part of it is really get in touch with yourself. Have you not been touched for many years? Do you like your physicality? How about how you're dressing? Do you have a style that you really like? Do you feel good about yourself? I would start there. There was really a very interesting thing that happened to me. I go to a lot of workshops because I study a lot, and I walk this walk of human and relationship development. And I was in a tantric workshop many years ago, I would say probably a few years before COVID. And in the tantric workshop, everybody was sort of in the same state, like couples together who were trying to keep their intimacy alive, and single people that felt like they had some things, sexual things to work out, and in order to feel free and to be in partnership in an intimate sexual way. And so, everyone sort of paired off to do these exercises. And one person was not picked to pair off. Like people just didn't didn't go towards that person. And I watched how the leader of that group worked with that person. And basically, he was an unattractive person, energetically unattractive, I would say, just really did not look like anyone should go near him because he was unapproachable. And the leader said, sometimes you have to do your own work around your approachability, whether people will approach you, and your attractiveness, whether people are liking your energy, and your physical, the way that you physically look. You don't have to be like a super, a superhuman, celebrity star, movie star, but you do have to have some draw, some energetic draw for people to be attracted to you. You have to be attracted to yourself. And then there was another person in the group who was very, very attractive. And people actually didn't pick him either. That was really interesting. They felt intimidated by him. And so that was something that the leader brought up again. And that person talked about how difficult it had been for him all his life. He was one of the people that he could never get a date. People thought he slept with people all the time, and he did not, because everyone rejected him because they just thought he was too attractive and they felt intimidated. When he told that story to the group, then people did pick him when he showed his vulnerability. So we're kind of looking at both ends of the scale, both sides, both polarities. But going back to trying to become intimate, trying to become physical, trying to be sexual, again, starts with yourself, starts with your own energy that you're giving off, starts with the way that you feel about yourself. I love this thing that I was watching something recently that people were practicing doing their like movie star walk, their what is it called? Their modeling walk, and they did this as an approach to like when you walk in a room, you stand really tall, look really bright, feel attractive, move your body, and then enter the room that way with that kind of energy. You're drawing energy to yourself. Sorry about that. So I'm wondering about your attractiveness to yourself and just want you to think about that. So now I'm going to move into the area of like if you're in a couple relationship and you're feeling like, hey, I want to get the sexuality, the intimacy back in my relationship. How will I do that? So, when I work with people, I actually talk about the damage of the cycle of intimacy, initiation, and rejection. So, the cycle of like people might continue to initiate some kind of physical affection or intimacy, and the other person might just reject and reject and reject. And then everyone's kind of like at other ends of the room. So, how are we breaking that down? And if you're in a relationship that's in this kind of dynamic, you need to, of course, your biggest intimacy action is talking. You need to figure out what's going on. And then the initiation of intimacy needs to happen a lot from that person who's been rejecting of the other person, you know, the other person's attempts, because that person who's been attempting is like done. They don't know how to continue on. And so we have to heal that as well as understand why the other person hasn't been interested in intimacy. And then there's the practice and the follow through. So with couples, I often give them assignments to really think about how they're going to be intimate. And I always call it like bidding for attention. So before sexual intimacy, you want to be paying attention to the people that you want to be intimate with, know about them, observe them, say hello to them, comment on how they look, and ask how they're doing. There's that draw, that intimacy through words, that draw like I'm interested in you. I want to hang out with you. I want to be intimate with you. So and then there's a follow through. And a lot of times it's easy to say you're going to try and you're going to put in all of these new efforts and things like that, but it's hard to follow through. And then the follow through is important to talk about. Where is the glitch still? Where is the hesitation? And working one step to the other step until you get into being able to feel intimate with each other and sexual again. And sometimes that's a road because there's so much hurt. So if there's so much hurt, there has to be so much conversation. So I hope you caught the line of how what I'm talking about in terms of intimacy, initiation, feeling attractive, and then how to maintain intimacy. So keep um, coming towards me as I'm giving you information. I hope it's helping. Subscribe below if it is, and I will look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye for now.